You will be shocked to know how easy it is to hack a person's account just by being able to guess their security question and answer. The reality is that quite a number of websites would require you to have a security question and answer as backup just in case you forget your main password, which unfortunately gives hackers access to get into your account. This is because most security questions and answers are basic questions about life. For example, what's your mother's maiden name, the most commonly used, or your place of birth, or the name of your first pet, or the town where you were born. Most sites let you pick one or two of these options, but usually you have to stick with the same choice. The good part about security questions is that only you know if the answer is true or not. Websites are not going to check on you, so you can give any answer to the question. But if you ask me, not answering the question truthfully is actually a good online security practice, because you never know who is looking at your account and what they can do with the information they find. So before you give websites your important personal information, think about whether they actually need anything that is private and important. Join us weekly for more of these tech tips.
Nokia is to buy Alcatel-Lucent in an all-share deal that values its smaller French rival at 15.6 billion euros, building up its telecom equipment business to compete with market leader Ericsson. The combined company will have about 114,000 employees and combined sales of around 26 billion euros. In mobile equipment, it will rank a strong second with global market share of 35%, behind Sweden's Ericsson with 40% and ahead of Huawei's 20%.
This is the right deal with the right logic and at the right time. Together, Alcatel-Lucent and Nokia intend to lead in next-generation technology and services with the scope to create seamless IP connectivity for people and things wherever they are.
The Finnish company will give Alcatel-Lucent shareholders 0.55 shares in the combined company for each of their old shares, resulting in 33.5% of the entity being in Alcatel shareholders' hands if the tender offer is fully taken up. The new Nokia will have stronger exposure to the important North American market with key contracts with AT&T and Verizon and a fast-growing internet routing business.
A strong presence in every part of the world, including leading positions in the United States and China. Together, we expect to have the scale to lead in every area in which we choose to compete.
Nokia pledged to keep France as a key center of the company and not to cut jobs beyond what Alcatel had already planned, especially protecting research and development sites at Villecarrox and Lanier. Sharing a platform with Suri, Alcatel-Lucent director praised his new partner and said that the combined company would serve as a European champion. Alcatel-Lucent has some 6,000 employees in France, and maintaining jobs was a key demand of the French state for its backing of the deal. The deal will be finalized in the first half of 2016 and is expected to result in 900 million euros of operating cost savings by the end of 2019. A research group with the National University of Defense Technology has recently tested its self-made brain-controlled robot in Hunan City, central China's Hunan province. The small robot can move forward and make turnings flexibly, which are all directed and controlled by human brains. The human brain is connected with the system and helps improve the intelligence level of the whole system. The group provided another way to control systems besides electrical systems and human hands. In the near future, disabled persons can use brain-controlled wheelchairs to replace 2 feet, while drivers can have more fun during brain-controlled driving. In the future, brain-controlled guns and vehicles can be applied to the battlefield. Technology developers from the United Kingdom have designed a new wearable technology where the garment itself becomes an active motion sensor. Cellflex uses bend-sensitive fiber optics that are stitched inside the clothing to provide intelligent feedback for athletes without encumbering them with bulky electronics. The makers say that until now, smart fabrics have had multiple electronic sensors, making them bulky and sensitive to moisture. Cellflex's fiber optic thread is robust enough for use in sportswear, with only a small credit card-sized electronics pack being the only other component. The inventor, Martin Brock, said making a wearable technology that was comfortable was a key factor.
So Exoflex is a breakthrough sensing technology based on optical fibres, where the optical fibre is actually integrated into the garment, and really it behaves like any other thread in that garment. So there's no compromise between having a sensor that gives you feedback on your motion or your performance and having some clothing that is comfortable and elegant and wearable as part of your everyday activities.
The technology built on the developers' extensive experience in industrial fiber optic sensors and low-cost impulse radar.
Strong and consistent. So as I start taking a serve,
Brock explained that Cellflex measures the scattering of light in the optic fibers, where bending of the fiber results in increased scattering and reflection, which can then be measured.
And as I flex my joint there, it changes how much that optical fibre is bent. And as that bending changes, the properties of the light in the optical fibre change so that more light is scattered back towards the source. And we pick up on that extra scattering, and that allows us to measure how much that joint's bent.
Algorithms turn the results from the sensors into feedback that is useful for the wearer, for example, correcting posture and movement and coaching them on how to improve.
At the most basic level, what we're doing is measuring joint angles. That in itself is not useful because you don't want to know that you've bent your wrist through 37 degrees. You want some more useful feedback. So what we then do is process those raw joint motions into something that gives intelligent feedback, acting like a virtual coach to improve your technique, or just allowing you to record your body motion during a training session with a coach and then compare what you're doing a couple of weeks later to what you were taught to do to see whether you've lapsed back into your old bad habits or not.
Cambridge's consultant Duncan Smith said Cellflex improves on current smart garments, which he says are little more than clothing, acting as a support for the conventional electronic sensor, with no synergy between the two, and where the electronic component often detracts from the garment. He wants to bridge the gap between technologists and fashion designers.
Flex represents a major step forward in wearable technology because it's truly wearable. The sensor is actually built into the fabric, so you're able to design clothes that have this sensor built into them.